It wasn't a basketball play. It was a message. When Alanna Smith leveled Caitlin Clark and the refs swallowed their whistles, the WNBA officially declared war on its own golden goose. You think this is just physical defense? Wake up. This is a coordinated hit on the woman paying their salaries. Don't you dare call that a preseason game. How is a crime scene? Let's break down exactly what happened on that hardwood because the mainstream media is too terrified to say it out loud. The Indiana Fever are running a standard transition play. The ball isn't even the primary focus. Caitlin is simply moving through the paint. And then, out of nowhere, Alanna Smith steps up. But watch her eyes. She isn't tracking the orange leather. She isn't looking at the basket. Her eyes are locked dead onto number 22. She drops her shoulder. She plants her feet outside the restricted area, completely ignoring any legitimate defensive rotation. And she unloads a brutal, blindside shoulder check directly into Caitlin's upper body. Bang! A heavy, sickening thud of bone against bone echoing through the arena. Caitlin hits the deck hard. The crowd collectively gasps. You could hear a pin drop in that stadium for a split second before the outrage erupted. And what did the officials do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They stood there with their hands in their pockets. The whistle stayed completely silent. No flagrant. No technical. Not even a standard blocking foul. Just play on, right? Just let the rookie phenom scrape herself off the floor while the veterans high-five over a successful ambush. This is not gross incompetence. Incompetence implies a mistake. This is a deliberate, calculated policy enacted by the referee mafia of the WNBA. They know exactly what they are doing. They are sending a mandate from the shadows. A mandate that says the old guard is allowed to hunt. Are we seriously supposed to believe that three professional officials, standing mere feet away with clear lines of sight, somehow missed a blatant physical assault on the most heavily scrutinized player in the history of the sport? Give me a break. Caitlin Clark had sneezed in Alanna Smith's direction. They would have called a technical foul before she even reached for a tissue. We all know it. The hypocrisy is so thick you could cut it with a knife. For years, the WNBA has preached about protecting its athletes. They release shiny PR statements about player safety and creating a healthy environment for women in sports. But the second the savior of their bankrupt league steps onto the court, those rules evaporate into thin air. Suddenly, the basketball court turns into a wrestling ring. Why? Because of cowardice. Because of a deeply rooted, venomous jealousy that has infected the veterans of this league like a virus. They can't beat her off the dribble. Can't outshoot her from the logo. They certainly can't match her jersey sales or her television ratings. So they resort to the only tactic left for the talentless and the desperate. Physical intimidation. They want to bruise her. They want to batter her. They want to make her dread stepping onto the hardwood. And the league office in New York is sitting back, sipping their expensive coffee, and letting it happen. Let's talk about the timing of this hit. This wasn't just a random Tuesday night foul. This happened right as Caitlin was making her highly anticipated return after the 2025 injury scare. Remember the narrative last year? The haters were throwing a parade when she missed 31 games. They prayed her knee would never be the same. They hoped the Caitlin Clark effect was just a flash in the pan. So now, she comes back. Looks stronger. She looks faster. And what is the immediate response from the veteran enforcers? A targeted stress test. They wanted to hide her early and hide her hard just to see if she would flinch. They wanted to test that knee. They wanted to see if the fear had settled into her mind. It is a pathetic, desperate strategy from a generation of players who know their time is up. They are watching their spotlight fade into complete darkness, replaced by the blinding flashbulbs of the Clark Empire. And instead of adapting, instead of elevating their own game, they choose violence. And the referees? They are the accomplices holding the getaway car. Every time they swallow their whistle on a dirty hide against Caitlin, they are validating the resentment. They are officially endorsing the bullying. Let's talk about the sound again. The squeak of the sneakers stopping abruptly. The heavy, unnatural thud of the collision. Wasn't a basketball play where two players are going for a loose rebound and their arms tangle. This was a predatory hunting maneuver. Smith tracked her from the perimeter. She waited for the exact moment when Caitlin's head was turned toward the ball handler. She locked in on the blind spot. That is not defense. That is premeditated physical assault disguised as competitive grit. And the referee, standing right there on the baseline, had a perfect, unobstructed view of the entire sequence. I want you to picture the referee's face. Unbothered. Looking straight through the foul as if Caitlin was a ghost. The whistle remained firmly grasped in his hand. Unused, cold, and silent. What is the instruction manual these refs are reading before the game? Is there a sticky note on the locker room whiteboard that says they must let the veterans hit 22? It genuinely feels like an orchestrated conspiracy at this point. A desperate attempt to drag the queen back down into the mud with the peasants. They want to break her spirit before the regular season even officially kicks off. They want her to second-guess every drive to the basket. They want her to hesitate before pulling up for a transition three. Terrified that some anonymous veteran is going to slide underneath her landing space and end her career. This is psychological warfare. It is physical warfare. And the WNBA is funding the war against its own savior. Let's talk about money. Because in this league, everybody loves the paycheck. But nobody wants to respect the person who's actually signing it. Let's ask a very simple question. Do you think Alanna Smith is flying on a private charter jet because of her own jersey sales? Do you think the veterans in this league are finally seeing six-figure salaries and improved travel conditions because of some sudden, organic growth in the WNBA's legacy fan base? Don't make me laugh. They are flying private because of one name. Caitlin Clark. They are staying in five-star hotels because of one name. Caitlin Clark. They are playing in front of sold-out crowds at Gainbridge Fieldhouse and across the country because people are paying hundreds of dollars just to see number 22 step onto the court. And yet, here we are, watching those same players, who are literally eating off Caitlin's plate, try to bite the hand that feeds them. It is the ultimate height of financial stupidity. Think about the logic for a second. If you own a gold mine, do you go in there with a sledgehammer and start smashing the gold into dust? Of course not. You protect it. You polish it. You make sure nothing happens to the source of your wealth. WNBA front office? They're just standing there, watching the old guard take swings at the golden goose. They're allowing the referee mafia to create a no-fly zone around Caitlin Clark's talent. It's insane. Any other professional league, this would be a scandal. When Michael Jordan was being physically dismantled by the bad boy Pistons, the NBA didn't just sit there and say, "Oh well, that's just tough basketball." No. They created the Jordan rules in reverse. They changed the officiating to ensure that the league's biggest star wasn't being sent to the hospital every night. They realized that if Jordan is injured, ratings go to zero. If Jordan is injured, the shoe deals stop. If Jordan is injured, the league dies. The WNBA seems to be the only business on the planet that is actively trying to sabotage its own marketability. They've created the Clark rules. But these rules aren't designed to protect her. They're designed to allow her to be hunted. They're designed to give the jealous veterans a free pass to vent their frustrations on her ribs and her knees. Let's look at the numbers because the numbers don't have a bias. $500 million. That is the estimated economic impact Caitlin Clark has brought to the league in record time. 95% sellout rate for the Indiana Fever. Television ratings that aren't just good for women's sports, they are beating the NBA and MLB in prime time. We are talking about a total transformation of the industry. And how is she rewarded? By getting shoulder checked into the floor while the refs look at the ceiling. By having experts on TV claim that she needs to pay her dues and respect the veterans. Respect the veterans? For what? For keeping this league in the dark ages for 20 years? Playing in half-empty gymnasiums and flying commercial until Caitlin Clark showed up and forced the league to actually act like a professional organization? Give me a break. The old guard should be lining up to thank her. Should be the ones screening for her. They should be the ones making sure she's comfortable on the court because she is the reason they might actually have a pension one day. But jealousy is a hell of a drug. It blinds you to your own best interests. These players are so obsessed with putting her in her place that they are willing to burn the whole house down just to see her cough in the smoke. It's pathetic. Not just the players. It's the coaching staffs who draw up these hit plays. It's the commentators who try to justify a flagrant foul as welcome to the league's physicality. And most importantly, it's the officiating crews who have clearly been instructed to let them play whenever Caitlin is the one getting hit. I want you to look at the replay of that Alanna Smith hit one more time. Look at the bench. Look at the way some of the opposing players reacted. A smirk. There was a sense of, yeah, we finally got her. That isn't competition. That's a mob mentality. It's a collective effort to suppress a generational talent because she's doing things they never could. She's bringing in a fan base they never had, generating revenue they never saw. So they try to bring her down to their level. They try to make the game ugly because they can't match her beauty on the court. They want to turn a basketball masterpiece into a back alley brawl. And the WNBA is just letting it happen. Letting the narrative be. Caitlyn is soft. Caitlyn complains too much. Caitlyn needs to adjust. Oh. The WNBA needs to adjust. Referees need to adjust. If I buy a ticket to a concert, I'm there to hear the singer, not to watch the security guard tackle them mid-song. People paid to see the logo threes. People paid to see the behind-the-back passes. Nobody is paying to see Alanna Smith commit a common assault in the middle of a transition play. The disrespect is breathtaking. Level of institutional gaslighting that we've never seen in sports. They want us to believe that what we're seeing isn't real. They want us to ignore the blatant targeting. They want us to think it's all just part of the game. Aren't stupid. The fans aren't stupid. We see the hits. We see the silence from the league office. We see the way the media tries to flip the script. And we know exactly why it's happening. It's the fear of the new. The fear of a girl from Iowa who didn't follow their script. The fear of a player who became bigger than the league itself before she even finished her first season. They think they can control her by letting her get beat up. They think they can humble her by allowing the referee mafia to ignore the rules. But all they're doing is showing their own weakness. All they're doing is proving that they are terrified of the Caitlyn Clark era. And they should be. Because when the queen finally stops being nice, she finally realizes that she doesn't owe this league or its veterans a damn thing. The real reckoning is going to begin. No amount of dirty hits or silent whistles is going to be able to stop it. If they thought a dirty foul was going to make Caitlyn Clark shrink, they just made the biggest miscalculation in the history of basketball. Did she stay down? No. She looked to the bench for a substitute? Absolutely not. She scraped herself off the hardwood, dusted her jersey off, and walked straight to the free throw line. No complaining. No theatrical rolling on the floor. A cold, dead stare directed straight at the Indiana Fever bench, and then directly at Alanna Smith. Is the look of a monster waking up. You see, the veterans don't understand the psychology of a generational killer. They think they are dealing with a standard rookie who got lucky with media coverage. They think a bruised rib is going to rattle her focus. Caitlyn Clark feeds on the disrespect. She metabolizes the hate and turns it into pure, unadulterated offensive output. Let's talk about a broadcast booth for a second. While Caitlyn is pulling herself off the floor, what are the commentators doing? They are laughing, casually brushing it off. Oh, that's just veteran physicality. They say through their expensive microphones. Welcome to the league, kid. Is institutional gaslighting playing out on live television? They are desperately trying to control the narrative. Want the millions of viewers at home to think that a blindside shoulder check to the ribs is just a normal basketball play. But we have the internet. We have slow motion replays. We can see the malicious intent in high definition. We can see the complete lack of a play on the ball. Let's talk about what happened immediately after that silent whistle. Ball goes back into play. Caitlyn brings it up the court. She doesn't pass it off. She doesn't run a complex offensive set. Alanna Smith switching onto her at the top of the key. And what does she do? She pulls up from the logo. A 30-foot bomb directly in the face of the woman who just tried to put her in the hospital. Swish. Nothing but net. The crowd erupts into an absolute frenzy. The camera pans to the opposing bench. The smirks are gone. The high fives have vanished, replaced by a sudden, terrifying realization that they just poked a sleeping bear. And this bear has unlimited range. Look at the stats from her brief 13 minutes on the floor. 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Shooting mechanics. Zero hesitation. Every time she stepped to the line, she made sure to lock eyes with the officials who ignored her assault. It was a silent message. Can't stop me, and they can't break me. Imagine the scene in the Fever locker room after the game. Ice packs. The medical staff evaluating the bruising. And Caitlyn, just sitting there in silence, taping up her joints. Tears. No complaints to the press. Just a terrifying, calculated silence. Kind of silence that precedes an absolute storm on the court. This isn't just about a basketball game anymore. It is about the survival of a multi-million-dollar franchise. And quite frankly, the league itself. Issue a direct warning to the WNBA front office, the Referee Association, every single bitter veteran sitting in the locker room. Clark Empire is watching. We are not a traditional, passive fan base. We are the people who bought out the season tickets in under 10 minutes. We are the ones subscribing to the League Pass specifically to watch number 22. We are the ones generating the social media engagement that pays for your new collective bargaining agreement. If this targeted physical abuse continues, referees keep swallowing their whistles to appease the egos of forgotten players, we will simply turn off the television. We'll cancel the subscriptions. We will stop buying the merchandise. And we will watch this league plummet right back into the financial irrelevance it wallowed in for 2 decades. Do you really want to test us? Do you really want to see how fast a $500 million valuation can disappear? Because if Caitlin Clark goes down with a career-ending injury because of a blind eye officiating policy, women's basketball will not recover. The sponsors will pull out. The national television networks will pivot back to college hoops. And the players who are currently cheering for these dirty hits will be back to playing in front of empty bleachers. It is a classic case of killing the golden goose. And the craziest part is, Caitlin doesn't need them. She has the State Farm deals. She has the Gatorade contracts. She has the Nike signature shoe line. She is a global brand operating completely independently of the WNBA logo. If she decided tomorrow that the physical toll wasn't worth the disrespect and walked away to start her own league, or just focus on her endorsements, she would be perfectly fine. But the WNBA? Be on life support before the weekend was over. So, to Alanna Smith, and the rest of the old guard trying to enforce this imaginary hierarchy, your time is done. The torch has not been passed, it has been forcefully taken. You can try to hold on to the spotlight by throwing elbows and lowering your shoulders. But history will only remember you as the speed bumps on the road to Caitlin Clark's dynasty. And to the WNBA officials, mind your whistles. Do your jobs. Protect the asset that is paying your mortgage. Because if you don't, the fans will start holding you accountable. We'll slow down every frame. We will expose every missed call. We will make sure the entire sports world sees the coordinated corruption happening on the floor. The 2026 season is not going to be a revenge tour. It is going to be an execution. Caitlin Clark is rested. She is angry. And she is violently motivated. God help anyone standing between her and the championship trophy. The league thought they could humble her. Instead, they just armed the most dangerous weapon in basketball. If you are tired of the mainstream media protecting these dirty players, if you want the raw, unfiltered truth about what is actually happening to the greatest player of this generation, hit that subscribe button right now. The Caitlin Clark channel. We are building the biggest, most undeniable army in sports media. Leave a comment down below and tell me exactly what you think the league should do to the referees who ignored the hit. Should they be suspended? Let me know. Stay loud, stay loyal, and remember, hate her because they ain't her. I will see you in the next video.